Hi there, I'm Dr. Stephanie Falk. And today I want to talk about our youth and our teens right now that I think are really struggling within this pandemic. And I think some more than others, certainly. There's a cluster of symptoms that I've noticed with those that I'm working with in therapy and teens and youth outside of therapy as well that I know that are struggling with emotional, physical, and psychological symptoms that I've casually referred to as COVID fatigue. So what does it look like and how can we help support them so that it doesn't lead to larger mental health problems such as anxiety and depression? So the physical symptoms that I'm noticing: difficulty with sleep, feeling kind of like they don't have motivation and they don't have a lot of energy, and maybe a little bit of a shift in an appetite. Psychological symptoms that I'm noticing: disillusioned with life, fear for the future, a sense of helplessness related to how this next year is going to go, and really kind of assessing and being concerned about their social status. Maybe they feel like a certain friend hasn't reached out or a group of friends haven't reached out in a way that they would want them to, and so they're wondering, am I important? Do I still matter to that person? Emotional symptoms: worry, irritability, frustration, sadness, anger, concern. So I'm seeing teens experiencing all three of these. And if that is the case for a loved one of yours, then I think it's really important to know, how can I help support this person so that they can manage these experiences a little bit better and they don't develop larger issues related to mental health or well-being. So I have a number of suggestions, and I've written them on this little card, and I don't want to forget any, so I'm going to be looking down and kind of go over those briefly with you. So the first one is choice. I think that a lot of teens feel like they don't have a lot of say right now in control, and I don't think any of us really do in this larger overarching pandemic. And so it's important to help them understand how they can control the controllables, and for us to really support a little bit more agency and choice. Maybe they get to choose what to eat for dinner or what to do on the weekends as a family. Maybe we take a step back and don't say as much as it relates to the way that they do their hair or their clothing or things maybe that we would suggest. Maybe we just don't suggest those things as much. So we really want to underscore their sense of choice. The second thing is connection. We really want to support their ability to connect socially. And so maybe we make a little bit more space for some social media. Maybe we help them connect with friends in a really safe way outside, spaced apart and physically distanced. But I think we want to create avenues for them to still maintain a sense of connection and encourage them to do that. Number 3, exercise. What we know about exercise is it releases dopamine and serotonin, which all help with mood. And it's also something that they can structure into their day, maybe in a predictable way. And so it also helps with a sense of structure. So I would encourage them to get some exercise and maybe do something that they enjoy: walking, biking, that sort of thing. Being outside. I think that there's something really important about being outside that reminds us that there's something larger than ourselves out there. I think we're feeling a little bit constrained in our own homes. And so if we can get our youth and our teen outside, maybe at the park, maybe on a walk, maybe enjoying something that they really like outdoors, such as hiking or the mountains or the river. I'm not sure what that is for you and yours, but if we can get our youth outside, I think that it allows them to embrace a slightly larger rather than myopic view of themselves in this dilemma. Last one is provide space for them to talk about the pandemic every week. I think that it's really helpful to check in with them. Hey, how are you doing with this COVID stuff? How is it impacting you? And what I've found is when I ask teens about this, usually they say, oh, well, I'm doing fine. It's not really impacting me. And what they mean by that is that they're not as afraid of the virus itself, or that they don't have COVID and they're not being impacted in that way. But when I begin to ask a little bit further and I say, well, what's it like for you to wear a mask when you go into the store? Or what's it like for you to order all of your groceries? Or what's it like for you that you can't participate in choir? When I ask more specific questions about some of the secondary ramifications of COVID, usually they talk quite a bit to me about how they're really stressed or how it's really difficult to not get a letter this year in sports or whatnot. I think they're experiencing a lot of loss, and it's difficult for them to be able to articulate that when we don't provide the forum for them to do so. And as we're having that discussion and opening space for them to be able to talk about these things, I think we need to be really mindful of validating their experience. We might agree, we might disagree, but it's important for them to know that we want to understand their heart. and to be able to tell them things like, hey, I can't imagine how tough this must be. I'm really sorry that this is hard right now. That would be a really great way to validate them. I think also after we've done ample validation, I think it's important to reassure them, hey, I don't know what the future is going to look like exactly, but I know that we're going to be okay, and I know that you're going to be okay. I think they need to hear that kind of reassurance. And our ability also to embrace a little bit of ambiguity around what things are going to look like and how it's going to be in a year from now, 6 months from now. So I hope that it's been helpful to tune in and to understand a little bit more about what COVID fatigue looks like and what we can do to support our youth and our teens that are experiencing it. I think it's a really tough situation for them and for us included. So I appreciate you tuning in. And if you don't want to miss a video, feel free to subscribe. And I hope this finds you having an absolutely beautiful day. Thank you.